Hold up, ma'am. This your car?
It is. I'm getting off a 12-hour shift.
Badge looks brand new. You borrow it?
No, it's attached to me just like the bags under my eyes.
Danielle Brooks. Trauma nurse, Mercy Ridge.
She's our nurse, man!
Radio check, standby.
You done? I'd like to go home while it's still today.
Yeah.
The body camera started rolling at 6:42 a.m., just as the sun struggled to rise over Mercy Ridge Medical Center. Snow clung to the blacktop like ash after a fire. A black woman stood beside a dented blue sedan with her driver's door open, coffee shaking in her hand. She wore navy scrubs and a gray hoodie frayed at the cuffs. A white police officer blocked her path, one hand on his belt, the other pointing at her chest. "Don't move," he said. "I don't believe you work here." She blinked once. Calm, tired, silent. Behind her, the hospital doors slid open and shut as patients came and went. Sirens faded. Phones lifted. A crowd formed. What the officer didn't know was that the woman he was humiliating had just finished saving 3 lives. He didn't know she had held a child's heart in her hands an hour earlier. He didn't know her badge was real, or that this footage would end his career, shake the city, and reopen wounds Cleveland had tried to bury. And here's the cruel twist. One of the patients she saved that night had been brought in by this same officer. Before this story pulls you any deeper, take 1 second to subscribe to this channel. These stories matter. And drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your voice is part of this. Hands where I can see them. Danielle Brooks froze, keys still between her fingers. "I'm just going home," she said softly. Officer Ryan Whitlock stepped closer, boots crunching ice. His eyes dragged over her hoodie, her scrubs, her natural hair pulled tight like she'd done 1,000 times before night shifts. "You don't sound like you're from around here," he said. "And that badge looks borrowed." Danielle lifted her hospital ID slowly. Trauma nurse. Night shift. 12 hours. Whitlock smirked. "Anybody can buy scrubs." A few feet away, a woman in pink scrubs stopped walking. A security guard near the door shifted his weight but said nothing. Phones came up. Red recording lights blinked. Danielle felt the cold seep through her shoes. She had been awake for 26 hours. Her head hurt. Her back ached. All she wanted was sleep. But she also knew that tone. That look. She had known it her whole life. Danielle Brooks was 34 years old. 5'6". Strong hands. Steady voice. She spoke softly because she had learned that loud black women were called threats. She learned calm was safer. She drove a car older than most interns. She lived in a small apartment with a plant she kept alive out of habit, not hope. She wore no makeup to work. She saved that energy for patients who needed it. What no one saw was the Bronze Star folded in a drawer at home. The military photo of her in desert gear, dust on her face, eyes sharp. They didn't see the scars on her ribs from Kandahar. They didn't know she had learned trauma care while rockets fell. At Mercy Ridge, doctors trusted her hands more than machines. When blood filled the room, they called Danielle. Outside, in the cold, none of that mattered. Whitlock circled her car slowly, like he was hunting something. "Whose vehicle is this?" he asked. "Mine." "Registered to who?" "To me." He leaned close. "Step away from the car." Danielle did. "Why were you lurking here?" he asked. "I was unlocking my door." "Funny," he said. "We've had break-ins." A laugh came from somewhere in the crowd. A nervous one. Danielle kept her eyes on the officer's chest, not his face. She knew better than to stare. "I can call my supervisor," she said. Whitlock waved her off. "Nah. You people always say that." The words landed heavy. A few gasps. Phone steadied. "You people?" Danielle asked quietly. Whitlock shrugged. "Don't start." He reached for her coffee cup. "What's in this?" "Coffee." "Put it down." She did. Hands on the hood. Danielle paused. She looked past him at the hospital sign. Mercy Ridge. The place where Mercy was supposed to live. "I haven't done anything wrong," she said. Whitlock's jaw tightened. "Compliance proves innocence." That was when the security guard finally spoke. "Officer, she works here." Whitlock snapped his head around. "Stay out of it." The guard fell silent. Danielle felt something old rise in her chest. Not anger. Memory. A convoy. A scream. A choice. She placed her hands on the hood. As Whitlock radioed for backup, the sliding doors opened again. A tall man in a suit stepped out, his hair silver, his walk fast. Dr. Leonard Hale. Chief of Surgery. He stopped dead when he saw Danielle. "Danielle?" he said. Whitlock ignored him. Hale stepped closer. "Officer, that's my lead trauma nurse." Whitlock laughed. Sir, I'm handling a situation. Danielle closed her eyes for 1 second. She breathed like she taught patients to breathe. Another voice joined in. Is there a problem? This time it was Chief Nursing Officer Marla Denton. Then 2 residents. Then an EMT who recognized Danielle's hands. The crowd grew. Whitlock's radio crackled. Unit en route. He straightened. Ma'am, you're being detained until we verify. Danielle turned her head slightly. You already did. Whitlock scoffed. Badge before breath. The words cut. Phones zoomed in. A black SUV rolled in fast, tires hissing on ice. It stopped hard. A woman stepped out in a long coat, face set like stone. Ryan Whitlock, she said. Step back. He froze. Captain Alvarez? Captain Rosa Alvarez looked at Danielle, then at the crowd, then at the body cam blinking on Whitlock's chest. Danielle Brooks, Alvarez said gently. Are you okay? Danielle nodded. I am. Alvarez turned back to Whitlock. You just detained a federal witness, a hospital employee, and a decorated combat medic. Whitlock's face drained of color. What? Alvarez's voice stayed calm. She saved my son last year. She also served this country before you ever put on that badge. Silence fell like snow. Danielle lowered her hands. Her shoulders finally dropped. The crowd murmured. Some cried. Some shook their heads. Whitlock swallowed. I didn't know. Danielle looked at him for the first time. That's the problem. Captain Alvarez reached up and turned off the body cam. Ryan, she said, you're done? Danielle picked up her coffee. It was cold now. She took a sip anyway. I go where I'm needed, she said. Even when I'm not wanted. And she walked toward her car as the snow kept falling. The snow kept falling even after Captain Alvarez said the words. You're done. Officer Ryan Whitlock stood there like the ground had vanished under his boots. His mouth opened, then closed. The crowd didn't move. Phones stayed raised. Nobody wanted to miss what came next. Danielle Brooks opened her car door and sat down, slow and careful, like her bones were made of glass. Her hands shook now. Not from fear. From release. From holding herself tight for too long. Captain Alvarez turned back on Whitlock's body camera. Say it again, she said. Whitlock looked at her. Captain. Say it again, she said louder. Whitlock swallowed. Badge before breath. Alvarez nodded. Good. You said it on camera. Let's keep it there. By 7:15 a.m., the video was already online. Someone titled it, Nurse Detained After Saving Lives. Someone else wrote, Badge before breath, Cleveland. By 8 a.m., local news vans lined the street. By noon, national networks were calling the hospital. By evening, the mayor's office released a statement filled with words like concern and investigation and values. None of those words fixed the cold that still sat in Danielle's chest. She slept for 4 hours. Then her phone started buzzing. Texts, calls, messages from nurses she trained, soldiers she served with, patients she barely remembered but who remembered her. One message stood out. Unknown number. This is Special Agent Calvin Rourke. We need to speak. Thank you for your service. Danielle stared at the screen for a long time. 2 days later, Danielle sat in a quiet office far from Mercy Ridge. No hospital smell. No beeping machines. Just wood walls and a flag in the corner. Agent Rourke sat across from her. Tall. Bald. Calm. You were part of Task Unit Echo 9, he said. Danielle nodded. You never talked, he said. Never bragged. Never used it. I didn't need to, she said. Rourke slid a folder across the table. You testified against a field commander who ordered unsafe evacuations. That case is still active. Your name is protected. Danielle's jaw tightened. Whitlock didn't know that. No, Rourke said. But now a lot of people do. Outside that office, the city was buzzing. Protesters stood in the snow holding signs. Nurses marched in scrubs. Veterans stood beside them, medals pinned to coats. They weren't yelling. They were watching. Officer Whitlock was placed on unpaid leave that same day. By Friday he was fired. By Monday the city announced a $4.8 million settlement for civil rights violations, not just for Danielle, but for a list of names longer than anyone expected. Turns out Whitlock had a pattern. Traffic stops. Searches. Instinct. All on camera. All ignored. Until now. Whitlock's house went quiet. His friends stopped calling. His badge was taken. His pension frozen. His name trended for the wrong reasons. He watched the video alone again and again. The way he laughed, the way she stood still, the way the crowd gasped. He finally understood something too late. The city council meeting was packed. Danielle didn't want to go. Captain Alvarez asked anyway. "You don't have to speak," Alvarez said. "Just be seen." Danielle sat in the front row. Hoodie, jeans, no badge. When Whitlock's name came up, the room went silent. Then someone read the words. Badge before breath. A mother in the back cried. A veteran stood up and saluted Danielle. The council voted. Unanimous. Mandatory body cam reviews. Civilian oversight. Trauma bias training led by medical staff and veterans. Change didn't feel loud. It felt heavy. A week later, Danielle walked back into Mercy Ridge for the first time since that morning. The lobby was full. Nurses, doctors, janitors, patients in wheelchairs. They didn't clap. They stepped aside. Dr. Hale nodded at her. "We missed you." Danielle nodded back. "I'm still tired." He smiled. "We'll go slow." In the trauma bay that night, a young white nurse froze during a code. Hands shaking. Eyes wide. Danielle stepped in calm as ever. "Breathe," she said. "I've got you." The girl breathed. Life went on. Months later, Danielle ran into Whitlock outside a grocery store. No uniform. No badge. Just a man pushing a cart. He saw her and stopped. "I'm sorry," he said. Danielle looked at him. Really looked. "I believe you," she said. He blinked. "You do." "I believe you're sorry now," she said. "That doesn't mean I forgive you." She turned to leave. Whitlock's voice cracked. "What should I do?" Danielle paused. "Listen," she said. "Before you decide." And she walked away. That night, Danielle taped a small note inside her locker at Mercy Ridge. Just 4 words. Breathe before you judge. She touched it before every shift. Not for them. For herself. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to the channel. Stories like this don't end when the camera turns off. And here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. If you were there that morning, would you have spoken up sooner?